Thank you all for joining us for this session. Welcome Ashish, Vaibhav and Ankit. I think I have one of the best panels at the event and I'm grateful for that. So thank you all for joining us. We want to talk about the AdTech Drivers of Growth report. So this is a survey which is in its 5th edition and we've been doing this we ask around 70 marketers a grueling set of 55 to 60 questions. I think all of you filled up the survey as well. So, and every marketer by the end of it is like, this is, you've asked me everything I could possibly think of and something that I've not thought of, you made me think about it, right? So the survey is quite exhaustive and it gives us an insight into what marketers are planning because this is the time where you plan for 2025, right? And it just helps put into perspective what various industries are thinking. Now, when we did the survey for 2025, we already spoke about a moderate optimism that we're seeing among marketers, moderate optimism for growth. So last 2 years when we did the survey, the optimism was very, very high. Like over 90% said that, we're going to do double-digit growth and triple-digit growth. But this time it's obviously, we are seeing more focus on building efficiencies. We're seeing more focus on MarTech. We're seeing more focus on performance marketing and a clear view into how these are, affecting the bottom lines is very important for marketers to look at. And our panelists here are going to share their insights into how they are looking at 2025 and what are going to be important aspects. Before I do that, I want to show you a few slides from the report. So that is the macroeconomic forecast for 2025. If you see marketing spends and priorities, performance marketing, influencer marketing, social media, CTV, and retail media are the top winners there. And in terms of emerging technologies, of course, AI and Gen AI are the top priorities. Business growth, like we said, we're looking at moderate growth. Marketers are looking at driving efficiencies with lower marketing budgets, so lower growth there. Those are some key insights from the report. You can all look at the report, download the report, and read all this at leisure. But retail media is important, and performance marketing, all of them. So everything that, directly affects the bottom line is suddenly becoming very, very important to marketers. And price sensitivities are driving cautious media spend. So all channels which were, somehow very expensive are, receiving less budgets this year apparently. Performance marketing continues to take the lead. That was the same case in 2024 as well. Performance marketing was important. And on that, let me start with a generic question, maybe Vaibhav to you first. We're seeing moderate growth. I understand macroeconomic conditions are there. We've been talking about it since morning. But why are all marketers expecting moderate growth?
Thank you, Shiny. First of all, thank you to the AdTech. It's a privilege to come back here every time. And, it's great meeting all the industry participants. Coming to the question, I think, everyone participates in the market. So if the market is slow, let me give you a macro answer to, it's like if the market itself is slow, then if I am a market participant, maybe I am an outlier case if I'm growing above the market. Otherwise, the market average is what is going to, drive my growth. And if marketing is a function of the overall growth of the market and my business, then because, I'm probably 12% of the GMV, and if there's a GMV that is getting contained because of market conditions, then I'm going to be a derivative of that, as a marketer. So I believe that is the reason, but I feel now we are also entering a time when we are probably at the trough of it, is what my and our belief is, that we believe that with the food inflation now coming down, the macros, probably government is also taking a lot of note around how to improve the macro. there will be an uncertainty environment. We are seeing a lot of, when we work with companies who are based out of China, based out of other Asian economies, also India for that matter, we are seeing a lot of tariff-related sensitivity, but that now a lot of air is getting cleared around it. Initially, people had this thing that, hey, we don't even know what is going to happen. Now they at least know what is the ceiling looking like. Right? So now from here, our belief is we want to go into it with a very optimistic approach that this is going to improve from here. The worst is we are almost at the worst part is what we would like to believe.
We're taking an optimistic view here. Ashish, yours is a company which is, connected BFSI, of course. Home Credit gives loans for buying consumer durables and mostly mobile phones. So what do you think? How are you seeing 2025? Because there are two sets of industries that you are dealing with.
Okay, cool. So I not only give mobile, I also give PL, which is personal loans for people to go to holidays and do whatever they want, okay? Okay, let's look at it. Just take a step back and look at it, what is happening in the macroeconomy, okay? You have been having all these rating downgrades or rating changes, both at the country as well as fund levels. The money market is tight. The capital market infusion is pretty slow. The investment market is not as buoyant as it was. Anybody who is having any equity exposure would tell you that they are turning from green to red and different shades of red. Just to give you a perspective, so there is something called as risk weightages, and which is nothing. So, I mean, your RBI or your controller in the market will look at what kind of a liquidity is available in the market and would like to control the liquidity. Almost about 6 to 8 months back, the regulator changed the risk weightages, which means making the loans a little bit costlier, which essentially means that you should cut down the leverage in the market. There was a lot of kind of noise around it. About a couple of weeks back, the weightages are being reset. What are they talking about? They are talking about that consumption is not growing at the levels it should. You look at the larger sectors, whether it is auto, whether it is, these are those headline sectors for economy. You would have been reading all the reports about automobile, all companies having all-time high inventories. It's a different thing that some companies will still say that you will have to wait for whatever, 8 months to whatever time for the delivery, but just rub the surface a little bit and you will realize that dealership will be saying, oh, we have booked it for somebody else, but we'll give it to you. Okay, so all those things. I mean, what is talking about? It's talking about that there is a stress in the market. And a marketer, why is marketer? So typically in an organization, if you were to put organization like a straw man, marketing is eyes and nose and ear. These are those senses which are far-reaching senses. And marketers are supposed to, a good marketer is supposed to have those senses and ears on the ground. And that's the reason you see all marketers being very, very cautious, because of at the end of the day, it is any spends on marketing is a bottom line spend. The only thing which I'll say is in the entire report, and I really want to meet those marketers who says that performance marketing and rest of the marketing. Any marketing, I think in these times is, any spend on marketing is a performance marketing. It's what you essentially mean to say is that am I putting it on the bottom of the funnel, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and me and Ankit were talking about it. I think this is the time when marketers are focusing a lot on the mid funnel, or should be focusing, because of you really can't go around increasing more awareness. You have to recruit more people. Somebody said on the earlier panel, you can't increase per person consumption, you need to increase more number of consumers. I think that's true for all the industries, and you will see investments happening in those areas. And typically those investments, per unit investment in that is lower than the investments required to increase awareness or whatever. And I think efficiency building is the name of the game. The second thing is, I mean, look at the uncertainty in the marketing world itself. You talk about Gen AI and AI, which is being touted and sold as a panacea for every other thing, from research to content generation to I don't know what all. I think I was just thinking that why do I need to be there tomorrow? Next year, I think Shiny, you will have a bot of Shiny, a bot of all three of us talking and kind of doing that. Will we reach there? Have we reached there? I'm yet to come across a marketer who has been able to show me a business positive use case for AI. Okay, but whenever there is so much of uncertainty, you will always find caution. Uncertainty always comes with caution, and that's what you are seeing in the market. Don't get panicked. As he said, all of us like to believe the worst is over and we will have more monies coming in.
So Ashish, you're saying all marketing is performance marketing. It's not the time that marketers can afford to do any marketing that is performance marketing. Is that correct?
No, performance marketing to me is being able to precisely be able to put the impact of the marketing spend. Now, is that impact is about that I will spend 10 rupees and will sell 10 soaps? That's an incorrect representation of performance marketing. Tell me a single marketer who can say, I have spent money in today's age and time and survive by saying, I have spent, but I don't know where it went. That's called as, layer marketing. I don't know if anybody can afford to involve in hobby marketing. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. I think, well put. I think analytics, attribution are coming out as the most important points for marketers. So if we have lower monies, what do? We need to build efficiencies. How do we build efficiencies? We have better MarTech. And better MarTech, the top better MarTech that marketers are looking for are attribution and analytics. So Vaibhav, coming back to you and Ankit, I have a couple of questions for you as well. Vaibhav, performance marketing, marketers are clearly quite bullish on that. What are the preferred channels that they're looking at right now? I think all marketing has to be attributed, but from a bottom funnel perspective, what are the channels that marketers are looking at?
So Shiny, every channel, my friend said, is dependent, every marketer today wants to spend money. And, when we talk about performance is that black box. If I put $1, I get $1.2. I always will have infinite money available, right? So channel selection is a function of the industry. But what kind of channels work? I can tell you there are channels around, there are performance channels like CJ, there are native channels like Outbrain, there are channels around, even CTV now has started to do a lot of performance linked stuff. So if you know what you want, the first thing that needs to be done is that, hey, what is it that I want as an output, right? And when I know what is that output that I'm looking at, channel selection is an input to that, right?
So what is the biggest ask from these channels? What are marketers, why a CJ, why this, why something else? What is the ask?
So there are two asks usually. One is, any performance marketer or any marketer today looks for two macro things. One is, how do I do downside protection? So, hey, I have a certain goal that I want to reach, and this is not the kind of money which is the hobby money, right? This is money which is there, and there is more and more money available, but I need downside protection. Upside, if you can get me 5x ROAS, that's great. If you got 8x ROAS, amazing. But 5x is my downside right now. I will not go below that. So once you figure that out, the second is, I want more signal to noise. I don't want a lot of noise. What that means is that, hey, sir, I got you 20,000 leads last time, but buddy, there were only 5 qualified leads out of that. So that's more noise for me. Probably my lead qualification cost went up, right? You got me a lot of leads, but they were useless leads. So the channel selection has to be a function of these two things. Can you negotiate your terms such that there is downside protection for you? Hey, is the channel willing to work on some sort of a goal which they can hold? It's not hey, let me do a best try basis. You will have to allocate money because not every channel cannot absorb infinite amount of money. Second is, how do you do, those more signal to noise? Right, so that there is more qualified stuff coming in. So what are those attributes that those channels have? Hey, some of the channels that I mentioned, do they have those capabilities? I think marketers are largely looking at that.
Sure, understood. Uh, Now, let's come to one of the favorite topics that we mentioned in the morning, quick commerce. And Ankit, I come to you with this question. Marico, retail media and quick commerce is a very important channel for you now. Now, the way I understand it, these are also very high burn channels. So how do you look at profitability on high burn channels?
No, I think you're right. I think e-com, quick com, these are all channels that are growing in terms of importance. But the point that one has to look at is, and I concur with what Ashish said, right, that it's no longer about burn, right? No one has the luxury to burn. The larger question to be answered is, are we getting it wrong by slotting performance as bottom funnel driving investments only, right? And do we need to take a step back? And because someone quoted Byron Sharp has a very good friend called Les Binet, right? So I must quote Les Binet to say there is a long and short of it, right? For every rupee that you're spending on bottom funnel conversion, there is a point of saturation that you're heading towards if you're not investing in expanding that funnel itself, which means that your top and mid funnel is as critical, if not more critical. Over time, you will head into what you're calling burn if you don't invest in expansion of the funnel, right? And that's really what a lot of us marketeers are missing out on. What we are getting caught up in is this whole comfort, right, of seeing immediacy of sale, not realizing that that's not supposed to be the end goal, right? You have to continue to expand your TAM because otherwise you are going to saturate yourself and you will head to a point where it will not be feasible to spend infinitely, right?
Correct, absolutely. I think every channel that we see, be it search, be it social, be it publishers, everything has a saturation point beyond which your money does not double or even come back. The amount you spend doesn't come back. So and that is what we need to look at, a long-term perspective when you are marketing, and that's what the burn is there for. That's the long-term burn that we're talking about. But Ankit, tell me, for an FMCG sector, if you're seeing growth, where is it coming from? Is it coming from tier 2, tier 3? Is it coming from premiumization of products? Where do you see the growth coming from?
No, so look, any large portfolio will have plays at both ends of that spectrum, right? So you will have your brands which are mass volume forward, and there are brands that will, or even the same brand itself, which will have a goal of premiumization. Now, one can't be trading one for the other, right? And therefore, the idea is to ensure that you are growing at both ends of that spectrum, investing proportionately again, right? So if you ask me, there is growth in terms of increasing penetration, growing reach of mass brands. Fortunately, India is not at a stage where we are, at a point where all our categories have hit penetration of 95% plus, right? And therefore, now there is no option but to go after premiumization. In most categories, most branded categories that we operate in, there is enough headroom to grow and, go the mass route. At the same time, the other reality is that in our country, we also have the opportunity to go and premiumize. And there is a segment of consumers who are available to take on that task as well. So if you ask me, I think the growth opportunity lies at both ends. It's up to us on how we are able to allocate the resources and actually drive both equally.
I think that's wonderful. India is the kind of country that offers you opportunities at both premiumization and increasing, growing into rural markets, going into tier 2, tier 3 markets, and increasing penetration there as well. Another favorite topic that I want to come to is emerging technology and what are the... So no one wants to answer emerging tech. Okay, so what are the channels of emerging tech? And of course, AI and Gen AI are the most favorite channels. But Ashish, I'm going to ask you this question. Marketeers are using, so these are some of the ways that, marketeers are using Gen AI and AI. And most of those ways that I see, while they're bullish on these technologies, most of these use cases are either from a data crunching point of view, or they are from a creativity point of view. Ki I'm going to make this video, I'm going to make this image, or I'm going to, give it a big Excel sheet and say, make sense of this for me. But what are other ways? It could be, it need not be something that you're doing right now. But let's say if we take a goal of a year or two, what are the ways that you think Gen AI and AI are going to help marketers with?
Oh my God, you are asking me to do crystal ball gazing.
Slightly,
If you would have told me, I would have
future
asked this
gazing, yes.
question to AI
2
itself
years.
and probably would have answered. But now, because of you have caught me before I can type, I will take a shot at it. And then we'll try and match it, what AI answers if the same question was to be asked it. Okay, if you look at, let's take a step back and think about what is this entire hoopla about Gen AI is, and then probably I'll make some sense about it. What it is doing is, you are trying to put all different kinds of contextualization engine at one place so that it is able to interact with you. Am I right? So what is the next step to it? The next step to it is, you can give it out all different kinds of repetitive tasks. And that's where a lot of us are talking about agentic AI. And these are different buzzwords. Agentic AI is nothing but typically creating a pattern on top of AI so that AI can interact with multiple systems and do a job. Things like, can I just, what you do today on Siri, saying, Siri, find me location A to B, can you possibly tell Siri that, Siri, tomorrow, why don't you keep from now to tomorrow morning, just keep an eye, and if you find the lowest cost ticket between Bombay and Delhi, just book it for me. And it will keep searching on different engines when it goes and does that. So what you will see is a lot of blue collar, front line thing, repetitive things getting onto agentic AI. And that is going to be, that's going to be the future. The second is, the moment you do that, now think about it. Today, all of us create content for people. Tomorrow, if I have an agent and you have an agent, and those two agents are going to be talking, so a Make My Trip agent is trying to pitch the deal, which a customer agent is trying to buy, then who do you create content for? So you will do something called as agent optimizations, which is going to be the future for marketer in business. The third thing related to it is about being able to create your organizational processes. What we were talking about, the digital organizations till now, and what Deepak was talking a while back about saying that we we have our omni-channel. You have one more channel added and a complexity layer added because of now your customer are going to be connected through a lot of digital tech, and then so the business architecture need to be rewoven and thought through from that part of view. There is another thing which is about, like you said, making sense of data. The problem is we are getting into an era of more and more, we are swamped with data. And I think going forward, another very, very strong use case for AI is going to be about cutting out of this data. Being able to rationalize in a marketer's head about what not to capture. When I started my career, we were struggling with, where is the data? Today, I am struggling with, where is the data? You have so much of it that I don't know which one to look at. And I think these are 4 large blocks, which I think where it will be in about, whether it will happen 6 months, a year, 2 years, but I don't foresee it will go beyond that, and we shall talk about it sometime later.
So AI is going to help us get over the data FOMO, per se.
Hopefully.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think our time is up. We have so much more to talk about, but we need to catch these speakers offline for sure. And thank you so much, Ashish, Vaibhav, and Ankit. This was a fantastic session. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaini. Thank you to all of our speakers. I think we thoroughly enjoyed the session, just like the way our speakers themselves enjoyed as well, interacting around the entire theme. Thank you once again for joining in. Ladies and gentlemen, meanwhile, let me inform you that we're also setting the stage for our next panel discussion that's also about to begin in a jiffy. So please stay tuned. We're about to get that started right here, right now.